Mrs. Andriopulou, you are expert in media literacy. You are expert in the field of media. So I would like to use this opportunity to ask you something about media literacy. What it is, what does it mean, and what is the advantages of media literacy?
Thank you very much. It is a very important question to start with because we have to decode the term. We usually tend to associate media literacy with disinformation, but it goes way beyond that. So media literacy is not something new. It is about cultivating the right skills, the critical skills, how to filter the content, how to evaluate and assess the media messages that we receive today. It is also about the technical skills, how to know where to look for the information we're interested in, to which platform, and how to retrieve the content and use it for our own information good. And then also it is about creating our own content, where today we are the so-called prosumers. So we are producers, consumers, users of information, and we interact with the social media. So this is where the main challenge lies, that we need to be able to create quality content and share it wisely with the larger community in order to avoid information disorder and pathogenic phenomena like disinformation and fake news.
How to detect fake news, disinformation, and what is difference between those two terms?
Well, there are three terms overall and they have crossing paths, so it's very interesting because disinformation is not always fake news. And the European Commission has came with three terms. So we have disinformation, which is verifiable false information that is created with the intention to cause public harm. Misinformation is closer to fake news because it is verifiable false information that is created, but the user shares it believing that it is true. So he doesn't really know that it is fake news and he tends to share it without filtering the content. And then we have malinformation, which is information intended, created with the intention to cause harm. We want to spread harmful information for specific political reasons, economical gain, any other interest behind.
Where can you locate the sources of this false narrative?
Well, it is everywhere. Now with the social media and the democratization of the media, you can find false narratives everywhere. It's not only in traditional media, which was a one-way direction with the user, the viewer. Now we have the multi-direction in the social media universe. So every user is a creator of information. They tend to share information without thinking whether it is true or not, and this is where the main risk lies. So social media had gave access to everyone to be a producer of content, but they have also caused, and everyone has the freedom of expression, but they are also responsible for spreading disinformation and fake news. And it is not only the responsibility of the user, of course, but of the social media platforms, the media stakeholders themselves, to control this pathogenic phenomenon.
But who benefit from this situation?
Well, it depends on why the information was created initially. So if you have political reasons behind for spreading disinformation and propaganda, then it is obvious that the governments will benefit from that. But the most important is that the high-tech companies, the media industry, they are the ones who benefit from spreading disinformation because it is associated with economic gain behind with advertising, and they are also making use of personal data of their users. The users are their customers today. So it is...
Is politics involved in over all of this?
It is involved when it comes to election. This is where disinformation is being hidden behind political messaging, and it is very difficult for the people to tell what is true and what is not. Because you have, and we have seen cases in the past where disinformation was mixed with the reality, and then you had a result, a political result that was not addressed the majority of population.
So you are telling me profit and politics is behind these disinformations?
Yes, yes. And who should take the decision to regulate the platform? That's a very good question, because the European Commission and UNESCO, they have made global efforts trying to regulate creative industry and the digital media players and internet service providers. They're trying to regulate them through imposing some code of practice on disinformation.
What are the policies to regulate the platforms in order to have a clear internet space, to have safe internet space?
This is a complicated issue because the European Commission has made significant efforts to regulate social media platforms, but on the other hand we have to be very careful to preserve the freedom of expression of every user today. These days, actually, the Internet for Trust conference by UNESCO is being live streamed in Paris, and the outcome of this conference are the guidelines to regulate Internet platforms in terms of the content, offering quality content and combating disinformation. This is a long due systematic effort by UNESCO and the European Commission to try and bring together the social media platforms, the internet service providers, to make them to self-regulate their content and protect the users through advancing media and information literacy skills, through some technical tools that they should adapt. For example, Facebook has incorporated the report button, so this is a new 2-3 years that is going on, so every user that sees something that is suspicious or looks like it is fake news for him, they can report that, and then the fact-checking networks can take the job thereafter.
But there is no safe platform when we talk about...
You cannot fight 100% disinformation. This is something that is spreading and will be spreading, especially in times of crisis. Also, what happened globally during the pandemic, the World Health Organization, they described the infodemic that followed the pandemic was a even more serious threat for the population, for democracy, for freedom of expression than the health crisis itself. Also, in times of crisis, it is a trend that we tend to believe information that about the crisis matter. We tend to believe it, and then we don't tend to look for it in a critical way, because we are all undertaken by fear, by stress, what is going to happen, and then this is the blocking mechanism in our mind to filter the content and try to recognize it as true or false information. Then it is activated.
Do you have any study who are falling for these disinformations most regarding the platforms?
It is interesting that most of the initiatives, global, regional, local initiatives, they are addressed to young generation, the Generation Z. These are the digital natives. They are in front of a camera, of a video from the very first minute they are being born. They are avid users and consumers of new media, but they know sometimes, because it's in their DNA, their digital persona, sometimes they're not so eager to share fake news. I would instead focus on the senior citizens, the citizens that grew up with traditional media, and now they have all moved to the social media in the fear of missing out. And they tend to share content without evaluating, without assessing it, whether it's true or not. So senior citizens are equally in need for media literacy campaigns, as well as the young generation.
How to deal with this?
You need public awareness campaigns. You need to be part of global movements like the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Alliance. And let's not forget that every October UNESCO organizes Global Media and Information Literacy Week. It is addressed to all states all over the globe. We have the feature conference, and all partners, all states, they can take part to this Global MIL Week with awareness campaigns, with projects, presenting their projects, some educational actions within the schools. So it is a global movement and everyone talks about it. We just need more synergies between private and public sector, between the stakeholders and the regulators and the civic society at the same time.
How can national networks help in this situation?
Well, at first we need to have national networks. For example, in Greece we have the National Network for Media Literacy. It is focused on the internet, on film and on television. It is a network approved by the Ministry of Education, and it focuses on training the educators in schools, because if you need to start talking about media literacy in schools, you need to train the educators and then to be able to address the school students. So this is a national network that has a very strong participation from the school community, and additionally you have the global network of UNESCO Media Alliance, and there are many organizations here in North Macedonia that are member of this network. So we need synergies and we need to create resources.
Who is mostly a victim of falling on this disinformation and this fake news?
Well, in principle, everybody can fall victim of disinformation, and the ones that are familiar with the media mechanism and the ones who are not. But there is a distinct social group that are more at risk. These are the pseudo-educated citizens. These are the citizens, the half-educated citizens, that they think that they know how the media operate, they know that media are constructed messages, so they don't bother to go and filter the information they receive. They are feeling very confident, and this is the case where sometimes this information is being mixed with genuine news feed. So these are very difficult to persuade them that you need to cross-check what you read. It's like conspiracy theories, because they think that they are right and they do not accept a second word to that. But the human brain is very similar to the PC data brain. So when we overload someone with too much information, we need some time, like the PC data brain, to step back and try to distinguish the truth information from the non-important information. So these are kind of similar, and we need to focus at this special social group.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.